Hello, everybody. Welcome back to JRE in a nutshell. Today it feels like Christmas morning because this morning I received my microphone. Fuck yeah! And I hope it makes my voice a bit less annoying. And so yeah, man. Anyway, we got three really nice and interesting interviews that happened last week. So let's get right to it. So let's start with Derek for more plays and more dates. The interview was pretty interesting. I found the most interesting part the first 1.5 hours maybe, where they speak basically only about steroids and the effects of steroids, what kind of steroids there is. I mean, I have really no idea about the subject, so that's why I found it so interesting to know like what's going on when it comes to steroids and why does it have such a bad reputation and all that stuff. There was one, let's say, anticlimactic moment that I found in this period, because at one point Joe says that he doesn't understand why people lie about it, lie that they take it and stuff. He's not shy to admit that he takes it and that it's good for you, and it could be good for you if you do it the right way. So I guess that's what he meant. Maybe I missed some context and he was talking about something else. But Derek, from the other side, he basically only said that it's terrible for you, it's really bad for you. And I was all this time waiting to hear what Joe does, or how does he do it that is good for you, or how can you do it that is not bad for you, at least, you know. And they never go there. So yeah, otherwise everything, all the other information was pretty interesting. They go then to more personal stuff, and there was another thing I found interesting about something that Joe said. He mentioned how he finds how people are rougher, like stronger, when you are raised in an area on the north with harsher climate where it snows and all that stuff. And how that makes you a tougher person and all that stuff. And that it's really interesting how that, for on his perspective, the fact that you are raised in a rougher climate makes you tougher. But for example, I come from the Caribbean, let's say, and climate is beautiful all the time, but we have all of the other consequences of a third world country. You know, it's not safe, economy sucks, corruption, and scarcity, etc. So the climate didn't make me rough, just the quality of living did. So it's interesting how the perspective of what makes you rough is according to your life experience. So those are the two things that I found interesting from that episode. So I guess I would give it a maybe 3.5 nuts. So yeah, if you're interested in such topics, go and check it out, definitely. Now let's talk about Kurt Metzger. This episode was basically about conspiracy, all about conspiracy. Conspiracy is definitely my shit, so I found it super interesting. It was a huge struggle to decide which episode to timestamp this week, either this one or Neil deGrasse Tyson. And I decided to do Neil deGrasse Tyson for reasons that I'll explain when I'm analyzing that one. But this one, it was from beginning to end, CIA conspiracies, and I don't know, the FTX scandal, COVID conspiracies, and the Ukraine-Russian war, JFK. I don't know. They cover so much stuff. I don't call them conspiracy theories anymore because most of them turn out to be true. So I don't like to call them conspiracy facts anymore because not all of them are facts. So I just call them conspiracies, or conspiracy spoiler alerts, if you will. I don't know. So fuck loads of conspiracy spoiler alerts. Check it out if you like conspiracies from beginning to end. 4, even 4.5 nuts. crazy, crazy interesting episode. Definitely check it out. And now for the main course, Neil deGrasse Tyson. As you know already, if you're not interested in my opinion, the first line of the description is a quick skip button to the timestamps. So then you don't have to hear what I have to say. You can just watch it yourself, make your own opinion on the subject, make your own perspectives. The reason I decided to timestamp this episode this week is because Neil deGrasse Tyson, in my personal opinion, is one of the few public figures who are both accepted in both political sides, in the left and in the right. There's not many like that. Bill Maher, maybe, Andrew Schultz, Lingos, under that border, like a fucking genius, like the genius he is, masterfully. But there's not many. So with the goal of unity, of uniting this society that is so divided, I decided to make the episode about a public figure that probably most people will not call completely crazy or accept their point of view, let's call it in a way. And that's the reason. The episode itself, that's not the only reason. So the episode itself was super, super interesting. It's mostly about Dr. Neil. I hope he doesn't mind me calling him Dr. Neil, because for me, calling him Dr. Tyson he would put a weird image in my head. And his book, Cosmic Perspectives on Civilization. So it's a masterclass on perspective. It's crazy. They put every subject they talk about, they put it into a personal perspective, depending on who looks at it. And you have to take into account that we're talking about Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, purely scientific person, versus Joe Rogan, who is a spiritual person. So he's also logic and scientific, but he's kind of driven by spirituality and stuff. Of course, they speak about psychedelics and his view, and it's very interesting that Dr. Neil, he says, I don't like psychedelics and I don't believe in this reality that people speak because there's no evidence. So if you do go to the moon, if you do go somewhere else in these trips that you're doing, and bring something, let me see it. That's how scientific he sees things. And of course, according to Joe, and that's also my view, is when you do psychedelics, it's real because it's real for you. It's your own reality. So you cannot touch it, you cannot smell it and all that stuff, but it's my reality and I see it that way, kind of. So that was pretty interesting. At some point, they even speak, for example, about the perspective on which animals deserve to live and all of these things that don't kill animals and stuff, and how people say these animals but nobody cares, save these animals but nobody cares about bacteria and bugs and those stuff. And this was one of the moments that I wish I was in the room, because there's a very, very famous meme, since Joe loves memes. I thought they were gonna pull it up, but it's a very famous meme where I'm gonna show you the whole build-up. So there was this placard, they say they put like advertising, where they show all these animals, and then they ask, where do you draw the line, in the sense of no animal deserves to be eaten. But then they show this second one where they clearly draw the line, and then they show this third one where to fuck a hot chicken vegan chick. That's hilarious. So yeah, it's a pity that they didn't show this meme in the episode, because it's hilarious. Because of this and how interesting this episode was, and everything that they talk about, and how it changed my perspective on life itself, pun intended or none, I don't know. Then I give this episode 4 nuts. Now let's talk about all the subjects that were spoken in the episode of Neil deGrasse Tyson. In case you didn't listen to my analysis, it's very important that you understand that the episode was completely about perspective. So his book, Cosmic Perspective on Civilization, is mostly about exactly that, exactly how facts are facts, but they change depending on who views the point and with which eyes is the point viewed. So they start with the Hubble Telescope, and they talk about the new telescope, which is the James Webb also, and how they are launching it a million or something miles from the planet to take new pictures and all that stuff. And they move to the Big Bang, and they even talk about a new perspective on the Big Bang, which means multiverse, and they talk about multiverses, pretty interesting. Then animal and plant survival, the same, the perspective of which animals should survive, which animal not, and what is accepted in society. They move, of course, they cannot, they have to talk about psychedelics and other drugs because they're in Joe Rogan. So they speak about that in the perspective of each person, scientific perspective on one side and a spiritual perspective on the other side. Extremely interesting. They go even to mind reading, and why would mind reading be a good thing depending on who's looking at it. Then they move to the subject of statistic and chance. So when what people think is statistics and chance and what it really is, extremely interesting. Some examples that he puts. Humans and the food chain, they speak about exactly this, where in the top of the food chain humans are, and why do we think that we are on top, and are we gonna be on top forever. We move on to modern evolution, which is an extremely interesting topic also on perspective, like what does evolution really mean and all that stuff. They move on to CRISPR, like genetic insemination and organ cloning and all that stuff, pretty interesting. Almost at the end they talk about genders, and Neil deGrasse Tyson says his predictions to 2050, what's gonna happen, like Nostradamus style, let's say. And he ends with a very funny comparison of the white man to a monkey in his topic race and color. So yeah, if you want to know exactly in which minute, which hour, which second, all of that, you have it on the comments. And then if some of these topics interest you and some not, you can go straight to the ones that interest you and listen those 25. Each topic is around 25-30 minutes. Sometimes they speak about the same for an hour, but you never know. So all in all, pretty interesting conversation, and recommend you to take a listen. And that is a wrap for another JRE in a nutshell. Please don't forget to thumbs up, heart, like, subscribe, press the little bell, and most importantly, I believe that the best marketing is word of mouth. Also, is the cheapest for me. So please, if you have a friend that likes the Joe Rogan Experience but doesn't have the time to watch it, that's what I'm here for. Share this channel with them. Maybe they will appreciate it. Somebody who watches only the highlights, you can also share that. That would be amazing. I would really appreciate it. Also, in the comment section, if you have any ideas or suggestions for how can I improve the videos in this channel, I'm all ears. And thank you in advance. A friend already told me that she literally felt that I was gonna poke her in the eye with my hand, so that's why I'm a little bit more back and not using my hand so much. So thank you for the suggestion. And yeah, we already got a couple of interviews released this week. I'm looking very forward to the episode of next week. I hope you are too. And yeah, see you then. Thank you very much. Peace.